I think it's no secret to anyone, but we absolutely love giant robots in fiction. In movies, they are absolutely towering behemoths. In video games, they're fast and nimble fighters. But yet, everyone knows one thing. Once you see these things, there's always that one singular thought. How would it feel to actually pilot one of these things? Titanfall 2, published by EA, is such an incredible game, and I can't wait to tell you about all the different things I absolutely love about it, but I want to get some things clearly out of the way. I originally planned to go over every part about this game and gush over every single little part, but then I realized my skill level doesn't allow that sort of thing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least talk about how it felt playing this game, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to talk about what I absolutely love about Titanfall 2 and why you should love it as well. Titanfall 2 can be broken up into two equal parts, the multiplayer and single player. Both are fantastic, but both deserve their own little space. But one thing is certain though, being a pilot in this game is incredible. But before I get to that, some background information so you're aware. Titanfall 2 directly takes place during the IMC and Militia War on the planet known as Typhon, during which the player character Jack Cooper was actually being trained to be a pilot before being deployed during the malicious invasion of the IMC-controlled planet. Jack Cooper was part of the first group that made landfall, but nearly dies after an IMC Titan lands in front of him, nearly taking him out. Lastimosa quickly steps in to try to save him and take him out, but soon falls as well, due to getting jumped by multiple mercenary Titans from the IMC. These mercenaries are known as the Apex Predators and are the main antagonists of the game. After coming to, Jack Cooper is quickly attacked by one of the local fauna, but Lastimosa managed to save him. However, his wounds are far too great, and he's going to die soon. However, before doing so, he quickly promotes Jack Cooper to acting pilot and gives him his jump kit, alongside this control of BT. And after retrieving some batteries, both BT and Jack Cooper go on a 9-mission crusade throughout the planet of Typhon in order to stop the IMC. Now, I just want to go over how it feels to be a pilot because, oh my goodness, it is incredible. You are an incredibly mobile fighter, able to easily jump around mid-combat and easily dodge both gunfire, lasers, and missiles fairly easily. You can run on walls, jump off them, jump onto other ones, and continue your momentum. The faster you are, the harder you are to hit, and oh my goodness, this is hard to pull off. I admittedly am not a very good pilot, so I'd often not get my ass beat to me, but that's more or less a lack of skill and just me still being fairly new to the game. All of this is possible thanks to the jump kit, something that Captain Lastimosa gave us, but is part of every single pilot's kit. To go alongside this, we also have access to a cloak that lets us either get out of combat or into combat stealthily and very quickly. Using it though causes the enemies to panic. It's like, where the hell did this guy go? They start panicking, calling out where the pilot last was and attempting to get a sit rep and where he is, only to discover that he was right behind them this entire time. It's just, I love this thing. Now, remember those batteries I mentioned earlier and how you can't really pilot BT until you get them? Well, once you do and BT's fully powered up is when the entire game changes. As now inside of a Titan, while you aren't as mobile, you do have the ability to dash, which can be used twice to either close the distance or quickly move into cover. This does vary between single player and multiplayer, but in the single player you can dash up to 2 times. Now, as for a Titan's weapon kit, it usually comes up with in these 4 categories: defensive, utility, offensive, and the core. The defensive tool is pretty self-explanatory. It can usually come in the form of a shield or ability to hold off an area, preventing enemies from coming through. Utility is usually the wild card, usually having multiple uses but can be used ambidextrously depending on the situation. The offensive is pretty self-explanatory. You use it for offense. I mean, what else would you use it for? Scratching your butt? Now for the Titan core, which usually comes in the form of a massive amount of burst damage, easily able to shred other Titans down to extremely low HP, or kill them outright. And of course a primary and a basic melee, which can crush pretty much everything smaller than you in a single hit, or stagger enemy Titans in front of you. Now, I'm gonna get real with you. This is an incredible thing to pilot in-game. You feel absolutely unstoppable against hordes of enemies. You feel like an absolute tank in this thing, and you can even see it on screen. By that I mean the HUD overlay, if you look at the very corners and edges, and also right in front of you. This is a completely unnecessary detail for the player, but the fact that they decided to go out of the way to make sure, hey, you can actually see that you're inside the Titan and not just hopping in as part of an animation, it's just so cool. It's stuff like this that I miss in some more modern games, man. Just subtle details to remind you exactly what you're doing in-game. Now I'm just gonna jump back to the fact that this game only has 9 total missions. Now, I'm gonna go back to the IMC's mercenaries known as the Apex Predators. These fellas were hired to protect a certain MacGuffin that we'll talk about later. Additionally, each of their levels also seems to match their overall personality, or what they specialize in depending on the role within the Apex Predators. For example, the first mercenary we go up against is a fella named Kane, a crazy dude piloting a Scorch Titan, who's taking control of a water treatment plant filled with toxic, liquid? I have no idea what the stuff is. It definitely isn't orange juice. Or Dr. Ash, who's taking control of a massive underground facility that seemingly is building houses? Who does she work for, Jeff Bezos? These two are fantastic examples of their environment, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about its most popular mercenary by far, that being Viper.
Voodoo 1, Viper's on station. Your journey ends here, pilot. The skies belong to me. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
God, he's so goddamn cool!
This guy is single-handedly the single best mercenary in the entire game, and by far the most memorable one in my opinion. He pilots a modified Northstar Titan, a big old Titan that can fly around with a plasma rail cannon. For some reason is attempting to LARP as an ace combat pilot. Seriously, listen to this man's callouts.
Bandits grounded. Viper's got the tactical advantage.
These are absolutely fun characters, and I actually liked fighting each and every single one of them. Well, minus Cuban Blisk, we never get to fight him, which I'm a bit sad about. That being said, there is one thing to note here. I mentioned it earlier that there's a certain MacGuffin that the IMC hired these mercenaries to grab. That thing is known as the Ark, something we discover in one of my favorite missions in the entirety of Titanfall 2, and likely yours if you've also played this game. The name of the device is known as the Ark, and we discover this in the mission Effect and Cause. Here, we're attempting to rendezvous with Lieutenant Anderson after he completed his own mission, Operation 217. But everything here at this abandoned facility is not what it seems.
Avoid all shortcuts.
Close to the rally point, we're being thrown across space and time, both past and present, at seemingly random intervals. We don't know the source of this yet. Perhaps Lieutenant Anderson can tell us exactly what's going on here. Sadly, however, he's dead. His body is seemingly fused with the ceiling. We decide to take his helmet directly to BT. Doing so, BT will play back a mission briefing that Commander Briggs told to Lieutenant Anderson, leaving Jack Cooper and BT to complete Special Operation 217. Alongside this, Anderson was also given a glove that we now need to recover. However, I would like to point out by this point the facility is long destroyed. There's literally nothing here, so what would this glove even do to help us? We now have the ability to ship between 2 different timelines, both past and present, which is just so cool, but it also has so many practical uses. For example, in combat, you can just appear in front of enemies, take down a group of them, and then just quickly appear in a different point in time. And their previous position in time gets marked with these blue orbs, allowing you to perfectly pre-position yourself to attack them from behind, which I absolutely love. I feel like an absolute menace being able to just hop between different points in time, being able to take out my enemies before they can even comprehend what the fuck is happening to them. Again, too, the idea behind this was just like, we need ideas for Titanfall. How about we add microtransactions? How about we add new ways to fly around? What if we just added time travel? The glove can also be used to travel across different areas that would normally be blocked off in the present or in the past, allowing us to circumvent many of the security blocks the IMC would use to stop us, alongside also any debris that block our way. As we make it through the facility, we eventually discover what happened to Lieutenant Anderson. After discovering what the IMC was truly working on here, he was ambushed, leading to his glove to malfunction, causing him to sort of falter time, as it were. But before his death, Anderson had discovered that the IMC had found an unknown alien artifact known as the Ark, which is this glowy orb that they now use to power up a massive fold weapon, capable of ripping apart entire planets, one that they actually test-fired in the past on Typhon's own moon. But the most important part here is the fact that the IMC still has possession of the Ark. And right now, the only chance that we have of actually tracking such a device is, well, to see it in action, in person. The IMC test-fired this fold weapon, creating a rip in space and time, and it causes everything around it to freeze. Except us, because the glove protected us from it. And this soundtrack that plays alongside it has such an angelic, almost mysterious feeling to it. It's kind of tragic in a way. It's beautiful, but there's destruction all around us. And again, there is beauty in annihilation. But regardless, we're here to complete Lieutenant Anderson's mission and successfully scan the Ark. It's unsure if the time anomalies here will continue to happen, but maybe we'll learn more once we get the data. This level is utterly fantastic, and I loved every single part of it. Just the story and overall setup, but also the mechanics applied in here are incredible. There are very few levels in video games that have the same level of aura and awe to me as many as this one. Affecting Cause is by far Titanfall 2's single best mission, hands down. Just everything about it is incredible, and I wouldn't be doing it any justice if I didn't at least talk about the finality leading up to this. Because holy shit, this is incredible. Just the build-up and the music and the panic feeling. There's a sense of finality and almost triumphant struggle, if that makes sense. It is a final push between you and BT to get to the Ark to scan it as it's firing, and the IMC is doing everything they can to stop you.
Well done, pilot. Scan complete. As Anderson discovered, the IMC intend to destroy the militia planet of Harmony using the full-scale version of this weapon. Pilot Cooper, our journey is far from over. We must get this data to the fleet.
Let's talk about BT. The way BT talks throughout the entirety of the game stays exactly the same, but only his words change, and this is something very important to his character. However, as time progresses, he slowly stops calling us Pilot, but eventually starts addressing Cooper with his name by just calling him outright as Cooper.
Wind, 3 knots, heading 274. Range, 95 meters. Projectile mass, 89 kilograms. Trust me.
I think I'm going to need some new underpants.
Copy that. Noted for the next supply drop.
I think the most important part about BT's character actually comes in the throw, as he does this roughly 3 times in the entire game. First time happens here in this mission, the Beacon. The second time in the mission, the Ark, and the last time in the final mission. BT's and Cooper's relationship with each other has been slowly growing as time goes on, and this is the first time that BT felt the need to ensure that his pilot could trust him. But in truth, we already trust BT. He's kind of been our savior throughout the entirety of the campaign. Whenever he's around, we feel a lot more safer, more powerful, knowing that no matter what we're up against, we can always win the fight no matter what, because he's always by our side. Mechanically, he's a safety net for the player. He's a sign that things are going to be a lot more easier going forward. But without him, we feel alone and vulnerable and have to play more tactically than we normally would. While Cooper himself doesn't really have much character and kind of just sits to be a sock that we puppet, BT is far more different than that. He feels genuine whenever he's around, which is why it all the more hurts when eventually he throws us one last time.
BT, what are you doing?
Trust me.
BT!
Alright, you done crying? Good. Now, everything I said all the way back in the beginning about how it feels to be a pilot or using a Titan can be applied here, with some notable differences. For example, dashing between Titans is entirely different. Others only have one dash, like Scorch or Legion here, while others may only have access to 2, or can have up to a total of 3 depending on what loadout set you have. This usually comes in the form of upgrades which are supplementary to said Titan. Alongside this, pilot abilities become more varied. Now you have access to a grappling hook, a sonar producing kunai, ability to teleport, and of course the disability, all separate between individual pilots that have their own set of unique upgrades. And I could go on and on about them, but that's not why I'm here. No, I'm simply gonna talk about 2 game modes that I managed to try out. Because as it turns out, this game has a total of 11 different game modes, and going every single one of them would actually kill me. So instead, I'm just gonna be going over 1. Frontier Defense. You and a group of 3 other pilots work your way to fight against 5 waves of IMC Gremlin forces attempting to take out a massive device known as a harvester that the militia has deployed to gather resources? At least I think that's what it's doing. You and your team have to plan out a defense and hold your own against an onslaught of these guys, with each wave increasing in level of intensity and in difficulty. I absolutely love this game mode as it can get very chaotic, especially towards the final parts where you're constantly being bum rushed by enemy titans and ground grunts, forcing you to quickly divide and move around the entire map in order to set up a perfect defense, constantly adjusting and fluctuating between areas in hopes to God that you and your team can pull through. But we also have some support tools to help us, like arc traps that electrify the ground depending where enemies go, sentries to help control points, and batteries and abilities to upgrade our primary weapons. The batteries themselves charge up the Titan's overall core, but also heal them by a significant amount. But if you can't afford one, don't worry, you can just jump on an enemy Titan, rip out its battery, and slap it directly into your own. Oh yeah, in this game mode, along with the main campaign, I only learned this recently, you can actually wrangle other Titans, steal their batteries, and give it to your own, but also on top of that, chuck a grenade into the slot where you ripped out said battery to deal significant damage, or to one-shot them depending on their HP level. The main campaign never tells you that you can do this outright. I just found this out when I saw one of my teammates kinda hop onto an enemy Titan and just rip out their batteries. Simply put, these boys got bigger balls than any one of us combined. Overall, 10 out of 10. A fantastic game mode that I will certainly come back to given time. But something I really want to get off my chest about that Titanfall has kind of reminded me of was the old era of Xbox 360 games. I grew up on that console when I was younger, and I absolutely loved every little bit of it. I remember I would always play like Gears of War or Minecraft after coming home from elementary school, and Titanfall kind of gave back that feeling in a way. It felt like I was a little kid just playing a game and actually having real fun for the first time in a really long time, which is why I shall give Titanfall my final grading. Overall, I give this game a solid 8 out of 10. It is certainly worth the amount of time and money you would probably spend to get this game, but I can assure you, you won't regret it. And with that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching, and hey, if you enjoyed, consider subscribing, and remember, share with a friend and hit that like button. And remember folks, stay free.